Donald Trump and his merry band of cabinet cockroaches are being taken to task by the top Democrat, Representative Jamie Raskin, in the House Oversight Committee in this breaking story on a glorious Sunday in America. At least one Democrat has put the gloves fully on and has punched Donald Trump right in his big old orange nose. And what I'm going to show you in a few seconds is so extraordinarily important because you know what they say. When you see one cockroach, there's 1,000 that you can't see. And yet we've already seen from Trump's cabinet picks, there's a whole lot of cockroach to go around, sulking, sitting, hiding in the background, which is why this breaking story is so very important. Now just take a listen to how Raskin goes at the other side on the floor of the House. Take a listen.
I'll yield to the ranking member for his opening remark.
Thanks to the witnesses for joining us today from one of the committee's last hearings in the 118th Congress with the extremely fitting title of A Legacy of Incompetence. The majority has assembled a group of leading Project 2025 intellectuals for a Project 2025 coming out party today. Last week, my Democratic colleagues and I urged the chairman to hold a hearing on a real issue. Yet instead of holding a hearing on gun violence, we've convened a panel of 4 witnesses with deep ties to Project 2025, the MAGA manifesto for a second Trump term, so they can audition for Mr. Trump's approval and land a spot on his cabinet or sub-cabinet, a fate not necessarily to be envied if you talk to former Vice President Mike Pence or Trump's former Defense Secretary Mark Esper or his former National Security Advisor John Bolton or Cassidy Hutchinson or more than 100 other former Republican officials declaring Donald Trump completely unfit for office. Now, Donald Trump has half-heartedly tried to distance himself from this toxic and increasingly unpopular agenda. Project 2025 wants to reverse all the progress we've made, strip Americans of basic fundamental rights and freedoms that we've had for decades, and create a federal workforce loyal only to Donald Trump and not to the Constitution of the United States. Today, Mr. Chairman, we're going to try to get to the details from these Project 2025 experts that you have kindly assembled for us. Let's get specific today, and let's see if the American people really want to follow the dark vision for America that Project 2025 has set forth.
That was Raskin putting Project 2025 into perspective, and yet so many of those people surround the folks that Trump has for his cabinet picks, which so many of them have already proven to be questionable in character and background, which is why background checks is what Raskin just hit him with in this breaking story. Take a listen. Maryland's Representative Raskin demands FBI vetting for all Trump cabinet picks. The top Democrat in the House Oversight Committee, Maryland's U.S. Representative Jamie Raskin, is seeking a, in quotes, clear assurance that all of President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet nominees will undergo FBI background checks. In a letter sent Friday to Howard Lutnick and Linda McMahon, the co-chairs of the Trump-Vance transition, Raskin urged that all nominees be submitted for vetting, in quotes, before they are afforded access to classified information. Raskin challenged Trump-Vance transition spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt, who told Fox News Digital that Trump's cabinet picks, in quotes, reflect his priority to put America first. However, several of the nominees announced so far appear to have significant ties to U.S. adversaries, be vulnerable to blackmail or other forms of coercion, or lack even the most basic credentials needed to effectively protect U.S. interests and national security, Raskin wrote. The representative from Maryland referenced multiple Trump nominations, including his pick for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, a former Fox News host and Army National Guard veteran, whose involvement in a 2017 sexual assault investigation resurfaced after the president-elect nominated him to serve in the administration. In quotes, the background of Pete Hegseth, President-elect Trump's nominee to be Secretary of Defense, also raises numerous red flags. The Department of Defense is the federal government's largest agency and the nation's largest employer, with more than 1.3 million active duty service members, 750,000 civilian personnel, and 811,000 National Guard and Reserve service members, and would present a daunting management challenge to any senior leader the letter read. In quotes, on Congress of the United States letterhead, Representative Raskin wrote to Mr. Howard Lutnick and Ms. Linda McMahon, I write today to seek clear assurance that the Trump-Vance transition will require that all nominees receive a Federal Bureau of Investigation background check before they are considered by the Senate and submit to vetting before they are afforded access to classified information consistent with standard practices across administrations. Echoing the promises of President-elect Donald Trump made on the campaign trail, a Trump-Vance transition spokesperson recently asserted that President-elect's nominees reflect his priority to put America first. While I understand the Trump-Vance transition has reached an agreement with the Department of Justice that makes it possible for the FBI to conduct background checks, it remains unclear whether the transition will require nominees to submit to them. In fact, reports indicate that some nominees may be refusing to undergo FBI background checks before the Trump administration takes office. Reporting also suggests that despite the new agreement, the transition may be planning to use private companies and not the FBI to conduct background checks on some of its nominees and to give certain appointees security clearances on the first day of the Trump-Vance administration without any of the standard vetting. Given this muddled record, I urge you to clearly and unequivocally commit to requiring that all nominees undergo FBI background checks and submit to vetting before receiving access to classified information. Can you imagine, in the history of this country, anyone seeking to not give background checks or have background checks on the people getting classified information for the United States of America? Even the question mark that it was in Trump's first term over Jared Kushner, whose classified access was questioned. And now they're literally discussing the idea of having a paid-off private company do the background checks. Folks, we are millimeters away from being a banana republic. Stay focused, stay educated, share this, talk to people, even talk to those you don't agree with. And above all, stay frosty, because this is going to be an interesting holiday season as all of this unfolds. See you soon.